We have talked about cytoskeleton in passing, never quite focusing on it. For example, when we were talking about cell division, I told you the cytoskeleton attaches to the chromosomes, and this attachment is necessary in order for sister chromatids to separate. Additionally, I told you when the cells have to divide in cytokinesis, a specific type of cytoskeletal element called actin makes a ring around the cell, and once the ring contracts, it results in separation of the two daughter cells. Cytoskeleton plays a very important role in cell shape and also organizing the cytoplasm. You have seen many micrographs. Cells' cytoplasm is anything but random. Different structures are organized in specific locations. That is very important to the function of the cell. Additionally, cellular shape is very important to the proper functioning of the cells. So let's look at cytoskeleton in more detail. Cells have to organize themselves in space and interact mechanically with their environment. We have been talking about cell adhesion, and we have been talking about extracellular matrix, and both these elements interact with the cells mechanically as well. They have to be correctly shaped, physically robust, and properly structured internally. I mentioned in one of our previous modules that cellular shape is very important to their function. Say, for example, neurons form these long projections called axons. They are supported by cytoskeletal elements. If they are unable to form these axons, they will not be able to perform their function. RBCs, rather than having long projections, they need to squeeze through tight pipes or blood vessels. So their cytoskeleton has to be flexible. So it is very important for the cellular function. The arrangement of cytoskeleton is very important. Many cells have to change their shape and move. This is also a function of cytoskeleton. Cells have to rearrange their internal components as they grow, divide, and adapt to changing circumstances. I'll show you an example of that later. All these spatial and mechanical functions are developed to a very high degree in eukaryotic cells, where they depend upon remarkable system of filaments called the cytoskeleton. Here, now I'm going to show you a photograph. Here's a photograph. This panel basically shows a cell which is stained by a type of dye called Kamasi blue. This dye basically stains the proteins. Look at all the fibrous structures in the cell. These are basically the cytoskeletal elements. Here I have a diagram which highlights different cytoskeletal elements and their relative position in the cell. Microtubules, for example, are attached to centrosomes. Here, for example, is the centrosome. And also we have talked about actin being at the periphery of the cell. The red in this diagram is showing the actin, and here the purple filaments are the intermediate filaments. They play a very important role in cell adhesion and also form the nuclear lamina, which gives nucleus its shape and also protects the DNA, the genetic material in the nucleus. The cytoskeleton pulls chromosomes apart in mitosis. I'll show you a photograph in just a second, and also splits the two dividing cells into two. It drives and guides the intracellular traffic of organelles, carrying materials from one part of the cell to another. When we were talking about vesicle transport, I hope you remember, there were proteins that were carrying these vesicles, and they had a direction. For example, packages were going to the plasma membrane. Other packages or vesicles were going and fusing with the lysosome, for example. It also supports the plasma membrane and provides mechanical linkages that let cells bear stress, strain without being ripped apart as the environment shifts and changes. It plays a very important role. The cytoskeleton plays a very important role in motility. For example, it allows sperms to swim. and others, for example, fibroblasts and white blood cells to crawl. Here, I promised you I'll show you a micrograph. Here, the green element in this on the panel is the microtubules, and the blue are the chromosomes. I hope you notice that these microtubules are in a star shape, and they're all emanating from a single point. In the other panel, you can see two cells are dividing, and this region, which is between the two cells, between the two lobes, which is glowing in green color, is basically the actin filaments that are constricting and pulling the membrane inwards, and which will ultimately result into two daughter cells. The cytoskeleton also provides the machinery for muscle cells to contract, and in neurons to extend axons and dendrites. It guides the growth of plant cell wall and controls the amazing diversity of eukaryotic shapes. The varied functions of cytoskeleton center on the behavior of three families of protein molecules, which assemble to form three main types of filaments. Each filament has a distinct mechanical properties and dynamics, but certain fundamental principles are common to these cytoskeletal elements. We will talk about them more in the next module.